Right, so we're joined with Richard Perry down here in Rushenden. Now, you're the artist that's designed the sculpture at the bottom of Rushenden Road, which I'm sure our listeners have become familiar with once they've been down and seen it. But firstly, could you tell us a little bit about yourself as an artist?
Yes, I mainly work in stone. I do a lot of drawings, and I also work in bronze as well, but stone is my main thing. I really enjoy the process of stone carving. The direct kind of physical aspect of it, and the fact that it's so permanent as well. I really like, and you can make very soft things out of a very hard material.
Right.
There's that kind of transition from something very hard to something very soft that I really enjoy.
Have you done this kind of thing before?
I have not. I mean, most of my projects. They do vary quite a lot. Sometimes they're more designed and manufactured. Sometimes they're modelled and cast into bronze. Variety of contexts and locations. So each job is different, but there's always that thing that you bring to it that's just to do with your own practice.
Now, you just took me along down to the bottom of Rushenden Road to let me have a little look at your sculpture, but I also understand you did some workshops with the local community. Could you tell us more about that bit first?
I did. I mean, that was really the driving force behind my piece. My piece couldn't have happened without doing the workshops with the local children in this community, and right from the launch day, it became apparent that a sense of community and a sense of place was sort of paramount, really. And the ideas that the children came up with, predominantly to do with the place, the theme of fish kind of started to sort of arrive, and that became the thing. And we spent a week down here. I brought an assistant with me, and we ran workshops every day, maybe 3 workshops a day sometimes. And managed to carve 80 stones with the children. Often they would come back time and time again. They really got into it, and we used those stones as almost like a sort of a welcome to the my piece that's at the other end of the pathway.
And they're laid out on the pathway to the sculpture.
That's right. Yes.
Could you tell us more about your sculpture? Because that's quite a big, almost circular piece.
Yes, it's a huge piece of stone. It started off as a 14-ton boulder, and I needed a flat bottom so that I could work with it in a stable fashion, which sort of took it down to about 9 tons, and then making it into a kind of soft sphere shape, reduced it to about 5-6 tons, and using those ideas that we came up with in the workshops, a kind of a community of a shoal of fish, so it's kind of community place,
It's a very kind of tactile piece, isn't it? A piece people can interact with.
Yes, it is. It's I've tried to make it almost like it's almost to do with the shore. Really, it's very smooth in places and very tactile, and quite rough in other places. So you could climb on it too. It's robust and quite tough.
So designed to last.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Was it a difficult piece to transport here?
No, not really. It was heavy,
yeah.
But it came on a crane lorry and was installed by the crane lorry. So that sort of thing was quite simple. It's just you don't actually lift it yourself. It's all done by machine. So yeah.
Thank you very much for speaking.
Okay, pleasure.
Right, we're talking to Nicole Mollett here in Rushenden at the Mobile Art Space. Now, I just spoke to Richard about his piece at the end of Rushenden Road, but there's some other pieces as well. Could you tell us more about them?
Well, yes, there's the second part of the Rushenden Public Art project, which is in fact a fence. The brief went out not only to create a sculpture for the end of the road, but to somehow deal with the very long fence that you see as you come into Rushenden, which belongs to the firm Medichem. And Richard came up with a rather ingenious idea, which is to create a colour palette for Rushenden and paint the fence this colour palette. So the idea was such that we'd go for a photography walk around Rushenden and then use the photographs and kind of slightly alter them on a computer program by basically blurring them, if you like, to draw out the key colours of those photographs. And then that was to turn into a colour palette. So we did all of that, or Richard did all of that, let's say, and there were some very, very beautiful colours come through. And then after discussions with the owners of the fence, obviously, it became clear that blue was the best colour scheme, or the strongest colour that was coming out of those photographs. Hence, the fence is now painted 16 different shades of blue, but it's not in a kind of orderly fashion. It's actually very irregular colours. So what happens as you walk past the fence, the light hits the colour and it kind of makes the fence dance, so it looks a bit like water, or the light hitting the surface of water.
It certainly stands out as you come along Rushenden.
That's right. It's very different. I mean, it is or was a normal galvanised steel fence, but now it's a galvanised steel fence that is an artwork. So that's quite exciting. And there is the idea to continue painting fences using the colour palette scheme. So if anybody's interested in having a piece of artwork on their fence in Rushenden, they're to contact Art at the Centre.
Nicole, once again, thank you very much for speaking to us here at BRFM.
Thank you.